Hello guys, Batlle here, welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming here to talk about the Ebuggy. My Ebuggy is the Maclan MBX8 Eco, but I'm using the speedo and motor from Maclan. They are that one here. And first of all, I'm gonna talk about a little bit pinion and so on. Later on, I will show you also with the Android device how to set up and what things I change and what things I don't usually change on races and so on. But first of all, the most important is about the ratio, the pinion and spur gear you're using. It cost me a little bit to understand because I'm coming from nitro. On nitro, guys, we always say, like, for example, clutch, which is the pinion. If we go smaller one, like from 14 to 13, we will get more bottom power but less top end. In Ebuggy, it's quite different. When we go, for example, from 14 to 15, we get overall power. So bottom and top end, it's higher. You have more speed, top speed, and you have more acceleration and everything. But then you get more temperature on the motor, so it's easier to cut or just to have too much temperature, and you will not be able to finish a heat, for example. So you have to take care on that. Remember that bigger pinion, it means overall power on bottom and top. But also I feel like better feeling overall. You can play a little bit better with your finger, with the throttle. But if you go a smaller pinion, then it's a little bit harder on the feeling, but you have less power overall. So you have to take care on that, okay? Then I will show you now in the video to make the full throttle, the full brake and neutral, to make the top and end and everything. And also, as I told you, about to change all numbers in the speedo, the brake and power, everything. But first of all, to make the top end, the full throttle and full brake, you have to put the EPA on your radio at 100% on brake and 100% on throttle. The high end point of the throttle servo, it has to be on the radio always 100% on throttle and 100% on brake. Or sometimes some guys are using 150 and 150. But from my point of view, 100% throttle and 100% brake. And then we can start to make the full throttle and the full brake, okay? So that's all. Just now we'll go the video. Remember, the MWRC Products is the distributor for Europe on Maclan. This one, remember? And if you're a dealer and you don't know where to get Maclan products or something like that, go down on the comments on the video that I put the email about to contact the MWRC Products company. So see the next video and I'll show you how it works. Bye-bye. We have to full brake while switch on the battery. Now full throttle until the pit. Now neutral until pit again. Now it's done. After that, check that the LED doesn't flash on full throttle or full brake. So here we are. We will need an Android phone, so the app still not ready for Apple, so we will need Android mobile. Then the C-type wire, which is that one, and here the one that goes directly to the speedo. We don't need even batteries here, so we will connect here directly and it will work. We see now we are inside the app. We see it's no connection, so we will put the C-type first. Then we put the ESC directly. We have to accept this, use it and accept it. And now it's connecting and now it's online. So now we will have exactly the settings we have ready. This is my setting from Spanish Nationals, last race. We'll start with the standard and basic things to test and to change. I mean, the typical things I change only on races. Then for testing, later on I will tell you again. But for racing, I just change these things I'm going to tell you now. On general settings, run mode is always the race open. We have race blinky for stock class, for example, but I use always race open. The S-back voltage, I use 7.4 because my highest servo accepts the 7.4. But if you don't have a high voltage servo, you have to use 6, which is there. Then forward power, I have always 100% here. It's always same. About the sensor mode, I use full sensor. This is the best about the feeling and power. But we have the Smart Sense option. The difference is just the full sensor. It will not work if the sensor wire disconnect or just is cut or whatever. So the Smart Sense, when we use it, the feeling will be a little worse than full sensor. But if we disconnect the sensor wire, the combo, the speedo and motor will work same. Motor type 4-pole, on this case for the Maclan. Let's have again. Oh, it has been disconnected a little bit, yeah. So, protection settings, I disable everything because I don't like to have a cutoff because of temperature or battery or some of these things. But if we are testing, for example, on battery cutoff, I use always 4S 12.8. This is the minimum I recommend you to use when you are testing and so on. But for racing, I would disable all of this. About brake settings, I change a little bit the strength. This is the power of the brake we have. We can also change on the radio, but I use 80, which is quite smooth. This I use always same. I will let you know later on this, or I will tell you now. The brake PWM, this. When you use 6.4, for example, it's smoother feeling, but the speedo will become hotter easily than if we use 3.2. 3.2 will be hardest on feeling on braking, but it will be more difficult to get hot the speedo. So I always use linear on brake curve, and drag brake I use 0% because I come from nitro, so this is what it is. But if you want, for example, when you're on throttle, you leave the throttle but you don't brake, you just leave the throttle. If you want the car to brake a little bit, then you have to increase the drag brake. But the ones who are coming from nitro like me, at least for my driving style, I prefer 0%. But these things, I always test it. This strength, I can change it on races, but this, I use always same. I just change on practice and at home. Then we continue brake setting, we did it already. So throttle settings, it's the throttle PWM, it's same as we talk about the brake. I never changed, I changed just at home or testing, but this is same. A small number, it will be smoother feeling and a little bit more RPMs, and 5K will be harder, like more punch, but it will have less feeling. Throttle punch, it's like the horse of power, more or less. So you have to choose what you want, if you want more. But if you have more power, the the motor temperature will be higher also. So you have to put the power you have, but not too much. Throttle curve, always linear, and deadband I use always 5%, but you can change it a little bit. This is the gap you have since you throttle and the speedo and motor starts to run. So if you put 10%, for example, I throttle and during let's say 0.1 seconds will be no power and then we'll start. But if we put 1, we'll have like 0.01 difference or even nothing, but this is the difference between both. Then advanced timing, you have the boost, turbo delay. As you can see, I always use 0. I don't like the turbo, just because turbo, it goes with full throttle. So once you make full throttle, it's like a little bit more power, and I don't like this. So I always work on the power and pinion on the motor. But if you want to use it as more degrees, more power, and more power, it means more temperature for the motor and for the speedo, so you have to take care about it. Just check this, but my advice is just to use 0 on both. If you put some turbo, the turbo delay is similar as the deadband on throttle. So it means 0.05 seconds since you go full power and turbo starts. So this is the difference. So this is all here on the setup of the Maclan combo, speedo and motor. This is what I do, and I hope it helped you. So this is all.